Welcome to the post-match press conference.
Thank you, it's good to be here.
We'll start with the questions from the floor so that we take as many questions as possible. I don't know who will be the first.
Coach, I'll start. I saw something just before the match with the sprinklers going on.
Okay.
Was it, well, initially I felt maybe it was a mistake, but was it a mistake or it was deliberate to bring the sprinklers on?
First, good afternoon, good evening. Yeah, good evening to members of the media. I'd love to give you a proper answer, but I don't know. No, honestly, I don't know. I'd be lying to you if I said I knew. So I don't know. I'll find out for you and then I'll give you an answer next time.
No, it was just something interesting.
No, it's a good question. But no answer. I don't know, sorry.
Coach, the nice little training session supposed to work on combination plays. Not, what would be the plan again for the second leg, because it's likely to be the same. And the coach was just here, says he expected exactly how it played out.
Yeah, first compliments to the opposition. They were worthy opponents. Okay, I think the scoreline is not a fair reflection of really their quality in relation to the competition. It's a difficult competition, and you have to be a certain level of team to be able to compete and to get something in these type of games. But and you've seen how even Bafana also struggled against Seychelles. And a majority of those players play Mossad, the keeper, Abudo plays there, the number 19, Esther plays there. So a couple of the players play for the national team. So not a very easy team to beat. Compliments to our players for a professional performance. A lot of humility, a lot of desire to run and to try to make amends. 30 something odd shots at goal today. So I don't expect much to be spoken about that, because when we didn't hit the target against Paris was a lot of talk, but today over 30 shots, which is good. And but it's important because football is a lot about okay, of course, like you say, maybe it reflects some form of training session, but football is a lot about telepathy, cohesion, and in the difficult games we're going to need this type of work that we put in today. And football also is a lot about automatisms and things that happen without really thinking, and once you start getting into the groove of doing something, human beings are creatures of habit. What you repeatedly do, you become, and therefore it was important for us to create good chances and create good moments in and around the box. And we did that very well. So compliments to our team for that, and compliments to the supporters for coming and giving us a bit of a boost. And yeah, well-deserved victory. Not too much in it, but well-deserved victory with a very good application from a psychological perspective.
Good evening, Coach.
Good evening,
Karabo. Some of the players haven't played here for a long time. I think Dennis Onyango as well hasn't been.
Yeah.
Did they come to your office and say, Coach, surely against La Paz, can we just have a couple of minutes? And going to the second round on Friday, Coach, are you also maybe looking to give other players minutes? Because I think with their schedule, it's quite important that most players do play.
Yeah, no, I don't think they unless they skipped my office and they went to other offices, I doubt it, no. They'd have to go to 6 offices first. No. No.
And the other one, in regards to the second round, obviously 7-0, are you expecting maybe other players to be given a chance as well?
Not sure, because at the moment the focus is on just recovering, plenty of fluids, plenty of rest, and after a very good performance like today with a lot of goals, a day off for the players, well deserved. So that's the immediate focus. Let's see what the doctors say. There's a couple of knocks. You saw some of the tackles were very, very difficult, some of the situations. So let's see, let the medical team assess. But if the immediate focus at the moment is plenty of fluids, plenty of rest, and then we sit and we do corrections, then we watch the training sessions and we see how people apply themselves, and then hopefully we try to give a lineup that is still based on meritocracy.
Coach, I mean, how is it for you when you are playing in an opposition like La Paz, and then you only have one round before the group stages? I mean, do you feel you get there untested on the continent? Because I mean, obviously we can just assume that unless you don't make the fixture, it's in the next round.
No, but football is this. Football is a game that gives you different tests. Today's test was more psychological than technical, tactical, But it happens all around the world. Man City had to play Copenhagen, and we all know the gulf in the difference between the two sides. But they were professional, and they scored the goals that mattered. And that's what football is about. As I said earlier, what's important in football is and maybe even in life in general, you are what you repeatedly do as a human being. So you try to make sure that every pass is perfect, every movement is perfect, everything that we train is applied onto the pitch, and that's how we train. And because we train like that, that's the performances we expect week in, week out, and therefore we can't complain about which opposition and how many rounds. But at the end of the day, what's important is how we apply ourselves and prepare ourselves, because clearly and obviously with the ambition that we have and the desire to go very, very far and in fact challenge for the Champions League this season, we are going to meet even sterner and much more difficult opponents, and we know this. But then our habits must kick in, and the habits come from games, training sessions, and we always try our best to be at this optimum level where we can always look to give our best on the pitch.
Coach, I was told that Bongani lost about 5 to 6 kg since he's come to the club. Still looks a bit heavy. How happy are you guys as a technical team with his progress, and how far is he from being at like his optimal fitness?
Yeah, the birthday boy. Today is his birthday. Incredible human being that Bongani Zungu. Are we happy with his progress? He knows I'm not happy, and I can maybe speak in a personal capacity. He knows I'm not happy. He knows that he can do more. He knows that, so I'm not afraid to say it here because I've said it to him. But we continue to work, and the physical trainers have got to try to assist him. It's not easy, because if you look at where Bongani has been for the last 2 seasons, maybe roughly, it's been very, very difficult for him. And then the subject of weight loss is completely different to the subject of conditioning. So it's very difficult to put a time frame in relation to that. But to lose the number of kilos that he's lost is a reflection on the good work that both himself and the conditioning team have done. But he remains committed to the process, which it is. And I'm sure you will still see a little bit more from Bongs, and he will continue to work hard. He's a top professional, astute professional. That's what got him to Europe. So it's not a worry for me. It's not a concern, because I think he'll be very, very soon. He'll be in very good condition.
Coach, another game, no number 9. I think the one that comes top of the mind is Al Hilal at FNB last season, which was really, really a good performance as well, just like today. Not having a number 9, how much does it, contribute to the interrelated movement and the fluidity of the team?
We don't always look to play this way. It's actually a very good question now. And funny enough, I didn't even recognize we had no number 9 until you asked, because the reality is when we set up the lineup, we look at what we have and what is in the best sort of condition to be able to give us the tactical objectives that we set out. And then we try to set up our team in relation to that, and that's also base it on the weaknesses of the opposition. But generally, football in this present moment in time, and also the way we want to play, is a game that has a lot of fluidity, a lot of flexibility, and therefore, when you have players like Gaston, Tembazwane, Marcelo Allende in your front line, you are accommodating players that can play in multiple positions. And then when you speak about fluidity, you say, all right, in certain moments, can you occupy the 7 position? And when someone occupies the 7 position, somebody's got to occupy the 10 position. And so when there is some form of familiarity with regards to what the roles and the responsibilities are in those positions, it helps create a little bit more fluidity. And that's why sometimes you see what you see, because when a player moves, like Gaston, when he moves into a 10 position, he knows the responsibilities that within the model and the organizational forms, what is expected from a 10. But as I consistently say to you, what makes it even more difficult is that all the movements must be interrelated. So if I want to occupy a certain position, first somebody has to vacate that position, or the opponent has to jump out and press the ball, and then the space is then open, and that leads to somebody occupying that space. Because football now at the moment is the answers for the players in possession is the player that presses. And that's football. Football says when you are a possession or position-orientated team, the spaces you occupy are the spaces that have been vacated due to the opposition putting pressure on the ball. And the one that puts pressure on the ball is the one that gives the player in possession of the ball the solution. But what is important then is that once I see the solution, someone else has to see the next possible movement to create the next possible progression, so we can get closer to the box, because otherwise then the possession is sterile. And that takes a bit of time, but also that takes also a bit of confidence and a lot of cohesion and communication. And that is also developed with time. So we played against a team that was not afraid to put pressure on the ball today. And that's why you could find a bit more of this telepathy developing, because the players could see the spaces and they could identify the moments to occupy the spaces, and not too late, not too early. And then that correlates with the movement of the ball. And once that correlates with the movement of the ball, you're looking for progression towards the next line, and then the next line, and then the next line, up until you get to no more lines. You know what I mean? And the only other line then is the goalkeeper, which we did in certain moments today very, very well. But to be honest, the observation that you made is an observation that, to be honest, I was not even aware of, because for a lot of times we've played Tembazwane as a 9, we've played Gaston as a 9, we've played Allende as a 9, false 9 sort of situation, Tapelo as a 9. So we've played, and that's why I'm not a fan of formations, because football has gone a little bit too far from that, a little bit too far. Maybe it will come back because football is like fashion. Baggy jeans are back. I don't wear them, but if I were to wear them, you would all praise me and say, hey, stylish. But I don't wear them. But 2 years ago, if I were to wear baggy jeans, let a guy coach Kilebar, you know. So, but it's the same with football. If we were to play the 442 Diamond maybe a couple of years ago, you'd say, these guys are outdated. Football has moved so far away from them. But football is back now, and you watch all the big teams. Man City, even Champions League, Man City plays 442. Alvarez and Haaland. Yesterday, Kevin De Bruyne plays as a 10, 8, whatever you want to call it, but in possession of the ball, he's right on the shoulder of the centre-backs, and it looks like it's Haaland and Kevin De Bruyne, and then it's Foden to find the space, it's whoever, Gundo to find the space, and they move. Arsenal are unbeaten or really pushing for the league title this season, rather. And if you look at them, they are very potent because they've got always two on top. Same with Bayern. Bayern have had to tweak the structure a little bit and to play with two right on top, because that it always gives you possibilities. But you can always do it. Look at the 4-3-3 that morphs into a 4-4-2. Look at the 3-5-2s now. The back three with wing backs. These formations are now so fluid because players are becoming more intelligent. The game is becoming a lot more faster. And then it's easy to say, oh, I'm Cancelo and I'm a fullback, whether left or right. But in certain moments, I find myself having inverted. Look at Zayda today. What position did Zayda play? Very difficult for anyone to tell me what position Zayda play. But the textbook position is left back. But the game and what the game says is 10, is shadow midfield. Do you know what I mean? So the game at the moment is such a fascinating species that it's developing and it's growing, and every single day you see new things every single day. That's why you stay glued to your TV, and if you can afford, you buy 3, maybe 4 TVs in your house. You've got one there, and 4 games are playing simultaneously, and you are pausing, you are watching that one for a couple of minutes, you are pausing, you are watching that, because if you lose track of what's happening in football, you get left behind very, very, very quickly. Look at Tottenham. I watched Tottenham versus Brighton. Brighton are going to be a very, very difficult side to deal with because of the new coach, De Zerbi, and some of these innovative things that he's trying to do. You don't know what formation Brighton are playing. It's a back 3 in certain moments. It's a back 4 in certain moments. It's a back 2 in certain moments. You just don't know. But that's football, and that's why youth development is becoming so important, because the footballer of tomorrow is a reflection of the game of today. And the clues that you get of the game of today assist you in developing the player of tomorrow. And that's what some of the best developing European countries have been able to do. And that's a typical example is a Haaland, where everyone says this guy cannot be a normal human being, but he's a product of probably proper youth development and people having smelt that the game is moving so far away from these robust number 9s that look for the ball to the chest and develop the play and link up. And they had to develop other qualities around a big, strong player like him, So, yeah, it's interesting. And let's see how we develop and how we go about it. Interesting question.
Coach, how far is Rivaldo and also the Moroccan guy in terms of...
Maybe. Riva is close. He played in the friendly today. I'm not so sure how many minutes, but he played in the friendly today. Haven't looked at the report because it was very close to... The friendly took place very close to kickoff time. So, but I know that he played. AB also played. And they should be progressing towards being available for selection. They're available for training, available for friendly matches, but not yet available for competitive fixtures.
Coach,
Jokens.
Looking at today's game, I remember some years back, Sundowns was going to play, I forgot which team it was, but the aggregate was already 11-1 or something. And Coach Peter said she's going to play strongest team because players need to get used to the ball leaving their foot and hitting the net.
For sure.
And after all that was said about not having a shot on target against Pirates, how many boxes did you guys want to tick today? Because the one box I observed was Mbule getting his first goal, which is good. The other time we spoke about development, and the last goal was a product of the development from Cassius to Blesser. How many more boxes?
We always have our objectives, and the objectives are not in isolation, because there's club objectives where the club wants to move in a certain direction, and then of course that helps us with performances and that helps us with the team. Then there's the team objectives, which is closely related to our performance levels, and then those sub objectives that are closely related to the main objectives are what we derive from our tactical agreements. And for us, these type of games are important because we don't play friendly matches. We don't have dead rubbers in this team. We have games where we have to play, and we have to play serious football and play to win, regardless of who we put on the pitch. And so today we did very, very well, and huge kudos and compliments to our players because, like we said, even at halftime, forget about the level of the opposition and the profile of the opposition, but look at some of the good things that we are doing on the pitch. Our counter presses were good. Our final third entries from straight from build up and then getting in and around the final third was excellent. The possibilities to terminate our attacks was very, very good. The movements to find possibilities in the grey zone and get number 10s was very, very good, and then look to develop play in and around those areas was good. We had less turnovers today from unforced errors, which was very, very good. So we are content, but at the same time we want more. We want to improve. We are not always going to have the perfect games. At Sundowns, it's not even just about the result, because anybody that plays a first leg against Orlando Pirates away from home and achieves a 0-0 scoreline and still comes out of that unhappy, it tells you how much of an ambitious club that is, because you go to Orlando and in the Champions League, for an example, if you go away from home, look at what has cost us every single year in the Champions League. The last 3 seasons, we've played the first leg away from home and we've conceded. And then you go to Orlando, which is very, very difficult, a packed stadium against a very strong rival, and you keep a clean sheet. And you are in control of the fixture, because now you go at home, you host them, and you've got possibilities to say if you also need to score, and they have to come and get a goal. But the reality is it's a huge improvement from the mentality of playing away from home and being a bit more open and conceding, because that's something that we had to get right as a habit for Champions League. Because once the knockouts come, once you start to play away from home and you open and you concede goals, you have problems. And the last 3 years have told us that. But at the same time, when the performance is not to the level that you want, it feels a little bit like a defeat. But that's an indicative of or a reflection of where the club is and how ambitious this club is. But in retrospect, if you watch the performance, and you look at the fixture in isolation, you look at the opposition, you look at the fact that there's a first leg, there's a second leg. The result that we had achieved is not as much of a train smash as it was made out to be. But you have to accept that at Mamelodi Sundowns you play to win, and you play to win every single match, regardless. And that's the mentality we try to develop and to produce in our team. And we have to keep trying, because the hardest thing in any football club for any coach is to sell a mentality, because that is trying to break down walls of habits, how people have been raised and brought up and developed. Anthropology is that type of study. It tells you that every adult is a result of his upbringing. And then you're trying to take 23-year-olds, 24-year-olds, 25-year-olds, and you're now trying to say every game is a game to win. And that's not always easy, because I played for Mazembe FC, and Mazembe FC are a club that is okay to finish in the top 8. It's okay to keep its PSL status. And that means that once in a while to lose one game, to draw another game, to go to Orlando and play a 0-0. For Mazembe FC is an incredible result. And so for 4 years, I've been patted on the back for achieving an incredible result. And then all of a sudden, the mind now has to adapt to being told actually that's not a good result, and actually we don't lose here. And now the mind has to adapt to that, and that is a long process, because for 15 years I've had a certain psychological makeup, and then I come to an ambitious club like a Mamelodi Sundowns that says you play every day, every match to win, you train every match for perfection and for quality, and that is not always the easiest thing. So we continue to try to help the players to develop, to improve, and that's how I work every single day, because without that mentality we are absolutely nothing, and that's the mentality that helps you to fit into the culture of Mamelodi Sundowns.
Last two questions. There's a question then.
Coach, I think with what Coach Pete also introduced a couple of years ago in regards to players doing their own research on players and also watching their own teams, also continued under you guys. When they saw that you guys are playing against the past, maybe there's also a bit of complacency as well, maybe in regards to training, maybe today or maybe something of that sort. But how do you guys work with it? I just want to understand the psychology of it. How do you guys tell these players that, of course, it's a lesser side, but you've got to show respect and be hard at work in regards to such fixtures? We have an agreement. We are very, very clear. The day we walk into the meeting room and we have absolutely no information for them about the opposition, the day we have no sleepless nights, and we don't come to the players and say, you remember Masood? He played in 2018. He played for Seychelles against Nigeria, made incredible saves, and he was trending. We give them information that is okay to other people. Not necessary. Why is this information about Masood being a pastry chef in an island that's 2 hours away from the main island of Seychelles? Why is that important, the information? But it's important because it's a reflection that we know what we're talking about and we don't sleep on the job. We work very, very hard. This opposition had no footage. We had one game. But it's a game that I watched 4 times. And then it's who is the number 7, because there's no commentary. And even if there's commentary sometimes with the African teams, it's very, very difficult because maybe the language is a lot different. You know what I mean? And then you've got to go into saying, okay, let's try to find the team sheet and find who this player is. Is he left-footed? Is he right-footed? What is his playing history? Abdou, the number 19, him and Esther and his twin. So Abdou has a twin that played even in the previous fixture against Vulcan Club, which is the fixture that we were fortunate to get footage of. The two of the twin brother came on as a sub. Abdou, the two Abdou brothers, plus Esther a couple of years ago, not exactly sure, so I don't want to be misquoted, but a couple of years ago, they went to Hamburg and got trained in Germany because of the potential that they had. Now, you come and you deliver such information. Fenchete, the striker, who didn't start today, but is a striker that's got incredible playing experience for national team, for his club side. And you come and you have to give these info. How old is the player? Where was he raised and born? What foot does he use? Is he left? Is he right? Is he ambidextrous? These are all the informations that we have to give. And the day we stop giving that type of information, the day we stop going beyond the expected, because we go beyond the expected. If you ask me about any player that we play, prior to playing them, I will give you an answer about where he comes from, what foot does he use, how old is he, what's his playing background. The day we don't give that is the license that the players can use against us to say, okay, then I walk on the pitch. Okay, then I'm complacent on the pitch, because we are the ones that are complacent, and then we sell that mentality to them. So no complacency from us means no complacency from the players, and that is 100% guaranteed, because there's no day I'm going to walk into a video room and I have not watched the opposition. No chance.
Last question.
Coach, we are down and out. Any possibility or any dream of repeating the same scoreline that Sundowns recorded against Power Lions, and then the second?
That would be very difficult. 20, what was it, 24? 24. Were you the coach, Trapper? No, but you were around, ne? Yeah. Miskins, ne?
Obviously, also as coaches, you are looking forward to break your own records, and then also going back.
Two questions.
And also.
I'm asking
Also.
questions.
Yeah,
I've
no,
asked
no,
the
I'm
first
saying,
question.
yeah, so let's keep it to 2 questions.
I don't disturb you.
Sorry. Answer the first one, coach, then we'll go to the second one.
Football is very difficult. Modern football now, to score 24 will be very, very difficult. Possible, but very difficult. And we'll try. We always try, but it will be very, very difficult.